My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head to Sydney Motorsport Park, where the world's best drivers and tuning houses converge for one of the world's premier time attack and car culture events. It's the 2017 Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge. Then we head over to the UK and to the Thruxton Circuit in Hampshire for round 7 of the British Sidecar Championship. This is Speedweek.
The fastest time attack cars from around the world have converged on Sydney, Australia for the 2017 Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge Sydney, and it's going to be absolutely massive. Chad Nailon down here enjoying the colour, and it's a big welcome back to Australia to Toshi Hayama. Welcome back, mate.
Thanks, Chad. No, it's great to be back here. Great to be in Sydney. Beautiful place, awesome people, and I can't think of anywhere else I'd want to be right now.
I don't think we'll be able to stand here with this much room. Look at the colour and space we've got at the moment. It's fantastic, but there are going to be thousands of people coming through these gates.
Yes, thousands of people. We got millions watching the live stream. There's so much going on. It's been 1 year since the last event, and so much preparation has gone into planning and everything. Every category in this event has been improved, and it's going to be really exciting to see that this weekend.
Yeah, we've got new engines, we've got new aero, we've got action happening on track, we've got action happening off track. What are you most looking forward to about coming back for 2017?
Well, Time Attack and actually most motorsports that are being held this weekend, it's all about pushing the boundaries and pushing the limits. So we're going to see a lot of new platforms, a lot of new technology, innovative technology. So it's really going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
It's going to be absolutely huge. We've got a couple of key guys that are getting up and down this pit lane for us this weekend, and some new reporters to our coverage as well. It's a very good morning to Eminota Francesco, her first time at World Time Attack, and George Miedeke, a man who holds the GT3 lap record around here.
Thanks, Tad. It is so good to be here. It is the first World Time Attack for both of us. I tell you what, the crowds are huge. The vibe is just unreal. And there are so many great things to see off track as well, including right here this weekend. We're kicking off the Gran Turismo simulators. And George, there are so many other great things to see throughout the day.
Well, that's exactly right, Emma. We've got obviously our hero cars. We've got one of the most famous cars in the world, the Mazda 767B. We've got our demonstration runs with Kiichi Tsuchiya and obviously the JGTC cars as well. And that's all part of our midday madness. So we've got the Flying 500. It's all going to go crazy from about lunchtime.
And I walked up and down pit lane yesterday. Now, Tim Slade was certainly one to talk to. He's our reigning champion. He set the lap record last year. Do you think he can do it again this year? And is there anyone in particular that you're looking forward to seeing?
Look, I think it's going to take a bit more than last year, so everyone's going to be under the pump. I'm really excited about Under Suzuki. Now, this event has a huge Japanese flavour, and he is one of our original experts, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he goes this weekend.
Well, we hope you're enjoying the colour and the excitement of the Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge here in Sydney. There's so much to do and see. Some iconic race cars as well. And George Miedeke, the vibe is building for 2017.
Isn't it unreal, mate? This event gets bigger and bigger every year, and what we're looking for is obviously faster cars, faster lap times, and we're going to head into the V Sport Club Sprint class for our first bit of action.
So 39 entries all up for V-Sport Club Sprint here this weekend. Huge amount of entries. Definitely, I guess you could call it the heart and soul of World Time Attack racing. Still very much true to its origins. And they were pushing the limits, George.
Well, exactly right. V-Sport Club Sprint class is a lot more accessible to your everyday driver, tuner. So you see quite a lot of competition in this area. As you can see, a lot of these guys testing the limits in the first couple of sessions.
Yeah, and quite slippery conditions. We have had some showers passing through, but for the most part, the weather has been clear. So how it works in this class, you get 2 sets of tyres. You have roughly 6 or 7 runs on the track to try and qualify into the top 5. Here's Raoul Victor having his first time attack challenge in the Victorian. Probably getting onto the power a little early there. That was a fairly wild moment coming onto the front straight. But if you want to make that top 5 shootout, you've got to push.
Well, that's the important thing. And one of the cool cars to watch was this R32 GTR. This is one of the original display cars for the Gibson Motorsport team way back when, in the old days.
It was a pretty cool little father-son moment. So son driving that car last year. Here he is on track right now. Father driving it this year, and amazingly, both in the top 5. Huge moment. Josh Muggleton, probably the wildest moment we've had through turn 1 this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Shades of his big crash at Wakefield Park, but he was lucky enough to walk away from that pretty unscathed, and definitely, spirits coming back up after that one.
The Harrop Engineering BMW as well, pushing for a spot inside the top 5. And this is the guy they're all chasing this weekend, Jordan Cox in this Mitsubishi Lancer. He has been absolutely flying. He's taken seconds off that record from last year.
Well, social media sensation, isn't he? He's famous for his antics at Bathurst in the little Civic, and doing an awesome job out there, and really well prepared, that team. They knew what they were doing.
So there's your top 5 headed into the spares box, top 5 shootout. They're all going to be chasing Jordan Cox in that amazing, powerful Lancer. And like I said, when you think about last year's record of a 1:39 set by Dan Meredith, this class has come a long way. To the Link Engine Management Open class, and this is probably the hardest to win here this weekend. Plenty of heavy hitters like this guy, Adam Kazmiri, one of the favourites to watch out for, and they'll be taking on the likes of last year's champ, Nathan Morecambe. A lot of pro drivers stepping into this category. New rules for the aero as well. You can see the side skirts on these cars. They've come a long way.
Exactly right, Chad. There's a few more restrictions on aero, but no restrictions on driver. So this car's actually been driven by Steve Johnson this weekend. What an awesome guy to have at this event.
We actually had Shane Van Gisbergen is competing in the drifting this weekend, down there helping him out. But unfortunately, that car's had some power steering issues. Talking about fast, wild skylines, this thing has come all the way from Adelaide. Matt Longhurst, second here last year. He'll be one to beat maybe this weekend as well.
Yeah, what a beautiful machine, and always well presented.
The 3-rotor racing entry, Andy Duffin from New Zealand. Probably the sweetest sounding car here this weekend.
Definitely the angriest. It's like everyone's loud uncle, the thing you always knew when it was on the track.
So the goal they're shooting for here, you'll have to get under a minute 30. You'd have to say last year's winning time, a 1:29.2, will probably hint towards sometimes being around, maybe even into the 28s this weekend. We're not too sure what to expect, but already the running has been very, very fast here.
One of the hallmarks of this category has actually been the level of preparation. You'll notice a lot of the top runners are actually really well versed. They've tested here a lot and are really, really well prepared for this weekend. Obviously, last year's winner, Nathan Morecambe, one of those.
Stepped up into the Dunlop Super 2 category as well and has been pushing hard, but it's Adam Kazmiri. The JDM Yard team have come absolutely firing out of the blocks here this weekend, and Kazmiri leading the way in this class at the moment. Well, never mind getting into the 1:29s. He's already stepped it up into the 28s. He's flying here this weekend in the hard race entry. Keep an eye out for the Honda when we get into the top 5 shootout, and lowering that mark in the JDM car to a 1:27.5 in one of the later sessions. So on the Garmin leaderboard, Adam Kazmiri, absolutely the guy to beat, and a 3-time champ, Garth Walden from the Pro class, driving a New Zealander car here this weekend, sneaking into the top 5. Unfortunately, Steve Johnson missing the show, so to our Japanese and Kiwi visitors in Kurakawa and Andy Duffin not making it into the top 5. Moving it on to Motul Pro-Am class. These are wild cars, but with AM class drivers. Very, very competitive. And the guy who's won the last 4 years actually stepping away. So we're trying to find a new winner. And we've got a bit of international flavour here as well, George.
Well, if you're going to say anything about the Pro-Am class, these guys are having an absolute blast, especially our Finnish friends. And then we've also got Rob Newen and his Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, the 101 Motorsport Crew supercharged Honda from Brisbane coming in as the favourites, and they have been flying in all sessions so far. So to this guy, great to have Jared Scott running here, a New York-based male model who decides that he wants to go and race his WRX down here in Australia, originally from Melbourne, and he's found bucket loads of time improved by over 5 seconds. And a Canadian visitor too. P2. Will Al Young, this thing has been turning a lot of heads.
Yeah, exactly right. And one of the nice guys at World Time Attack. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Will Young, and just an absolute legend, a real gentleman, and he's having an awesome time coming out to one of the biggest events he's ever driven at.
Fastest front-wheel drive car in North America, so looking forward to that all front-wheel drive battle between he and Rob Newen as well. So lots to watch out for, including this Audi. Sami Sivanen, this is the fastest car in a straight line here at World Time Attack this weekend. 6th gear, over 300 k's an hour down the front straight.
What an absolute monster. And you can see right the way through the whole event, he's been struggling with the limits of that thing. But when the limits are so high, you've got to really test him.
Yeah, just learning this track has been difficult. He did run in Club Sprint last year. I think from memory it was Volkswagen Golf. So a huge step up towards the last few sessions. We did get some sprinklings of rain, and just locking yourself into that top 5 shootout was quite difficult. But this guy has set a new benchmark here this weekend. Absolutely flying. Look at it squirming around this huge front wing, pushing it onto the racetrack.
Unbelievable. And the way they crept up on it, you know, it's a real team environment down there. There's heaps of people that play a part in making this thing go quickly, and the way they crept up on it, going faster and faster and faster, really impressive to see.
So last year they went 127.6, Rob Newen, and now they've lowered that incredibly to 126.2. So he's found 1.4 seconds on last year's time, and he will be our #1 qualifier coming into the Spares Box Super Lap Shootout. Top 5 moving on through. Will Al Young doing a good job here this weekend, sitting in P2. But all the talk has been about the Royal Purple Pro Class, and can the Hammerhead go back to back? And well, we got pretty much an inkling, I think straight away, George, that this was going to be something special this year.
Well, exactly right. If you're going to characterise Murray Coote's outfit, they would be prepared. So Tim Slade straight out the box with a huge lap time, and showing that the Hammerhead's going to be the one everyone's going to watch out for straight away.
So 122.1 was the time last year, and bang, straight into the 21s on his first lap for the weekend. And that was automatically the benchmark. And also under Suzuki, the cult hero, I guess you could call him, from Japan, was very quick as well, but not quite going with Tim Slade's MCA Hammerhead. Huge improvements to this car. They've done a lot of work, particularly in the front end, and a very nice job again by Barton Moore to be inside the top 3.
Yeah, an absolutely wild thing to watch. This the titanium skid blocks throwing sparks 20 metres into the air off the back of that thing. Really, really cool.
But the MCA Hammerhead was just getting started, and we would see some exceptionally quick lap times. Have a look at the commitment through turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely massive. He turns in dead flat. Now that car Tim actually has a slight lift in the middle of the corner, but only down to about 250 kilometres an hour mid-corner speed. Amazing.
They do have a new billet motor for Barton Moore's car, which they have been teetering on the edge with here this weekend. The wildest moment of the weekend, under Suzuki trying to go back-to-back laps, and bang, rear tyre failure through turn 1, and somehow hangs on to it.
Well, it's amazing that these tyres put up with the punishment they do, and especially with these cars now, with the amount of downforce and the load that are going through them. Really, really impressive to see him save that one.
It was right at the exit of the corner. Whack, cracked massively sideways. He said that Koichi Tsuchiya, the Drift King, had been giving him tips on how to drive sideways over the years. I think he needed it right then.
Yeah, no, plenty of respect going to that, man. That was a heck of a save, and obviously 250 kilometres an hour plus. Really, really special.
From one fan favourite to another, Andy Forrest has returned to Australia. Raced here 2 years ago, but in a package that has been completely upgraded with new aero as well here this weekend, and a new transaxle. Now, this is how much they were pushing the limits throughout this weekend. Parts actually getting ripped off the floor of these cars.
Yeah, we saw aero parts flying off all kinds of cars, RP968, obviously Tim Slade's car as well, so a really, really wild weekend and very punishing for the cars.
And unfortunately, we did also have mechanical dramas for this car, and a torque tube failure, meaning that they would take no further part in the weekend, and they had already locked themselves into the top 3 spots, improving on last year's time. Tim Slade, watch the front wing as it peels off that end plate. Incredibly, this was on his fast lap.
Yeah, exactly right, and it's actually pretty good that it came off the right side, because he really needed the left side for the last corner, so really, really impressive to see, and what a lap time. I mean, is there any limit to how fast these things can go?
When we saw the sector times light up, we thought this was going to be good, and he crossed for a 1:20.97. The crowd were incredibly impressed. So too Murray Coote, the team owner. How about the response?
I absolutely love that. These guys really put a lot of heart and soul and blood and sweat into this car, and really cool to see that.
So action replay thanks to K&N. Let's enjoy this lap. George, talk us through it, the commitment in particular.
Well, exactly right. Now, turn 1, I mean, it's flat in a lot of cars, but it's not flat at 289 kilometres an hour. So Tim's actually turning in here, scrubs off a little bit of speed, just off the gas in the middle, and then back to full throttle again down to turn 2.
And this car has been all about consistency. They have turned probably 5 or 6 laps quite comfortably this weekend. They can really attack the racetrack without much worry about hurting the car now. Apart from that front wing failure earlier, it's the only part that they've really hurt on this car all weekend.
Well, exactly right. And you can see Tim's feeling very comfortable. He's still using a sequential style shifter instead of the paddle shifters you're finding in a lot of the other cars, but it shows that when the driver's comfortable, the driver's feeling ready to push, it's going to be no hindrance on the lap time.
Right to the limits of the track at turn 5, and you need to be sure not to run over that yellow line this weekend. Second gear around the back, another fast left-hander, turn 7. Just feathering it in 4th gear. New rear wing assembly for this car, also a new front wing, but they've elected not to use it yet.
They were putting new aero parts on this car all weekend, so really, really impressive to see these guys continue to push the limit. And you can see this curb on the right-hand side here is actually where he loses his end plate, so it gets that vibration, pops right off, and then he can carry it through the last 2 corners.
So impressive. The scary thing is, though, on the sector times, believe it or not, this car has even more time out there to find. How quick can it go? Well, 1 minute 20.9. Just to put that into perspective, that's a comfortable 9 seconds quicker than what he was doing here in a supercar earlier this year when the Virgin Australia supercars were racing here. That's huge.
Yeah, exactly right. I've got the GT3 lap record, and that's 7 seconds slower, so pretty impressive.
How about that? The MCA suspension team fined 1.3 seconds just about on last year. Barton Moore sadly won't be appearing in the Super Lap shootout, but a 121.4 from that team is huge. They've been the quickest through the middle sector, and under Suzuki, I believe that car's got a 121 in it as well. Hopefully we can see that happen. And Fire Ando, new visitor to the time attack scene here this weekend, looking good as well in the 26s.
Now, Murray, you said to me, you're no good at this stuff, but I can tell what you are good at is building a racing car. Very, very impressive. Obviously, you haven't stopped. You haven't stopped innovating. You've got new aero on the car this morning. Pretty impressive lap from Tim there.
Yeah, bloody good. He did a bloody good job of that. The car looked pretty tidy too. We did a little bit of soul searching last night, thinking that opposition's getting damn close, you know. And so Andrew from A&B Aero came up with a bit of a sort of, a bit of an idea to sort of give us a bit more front downforce, and that worked a treat, eh?
Looking forward to seeing it in the Spares Box Super Lap shootout. Well, don't go too far away because we're going to check out plenty of the colour and some of the hero cars here at Yokohama World Time Attack Sydney. Coming up after this, Midday Mayhem. It's Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge Sydney for 2017 and Destination New South Wales. A great supporter of this event. It's all about bringing so many people into Sydney to see this wonderful motorsport festival. And George, there are thousands upon thousands of people here this weekend.
Well, exactly right, Chad. It brought me in, I'll tell you what. And the event's been fantastic, but it's not just about these World Time Attack cars. There's so much extra going on with our Flying 500 and all of our demonstrations. It's just been great.
One of the best parts about the Midday Mayhem is we open up the pits. Now, this is a very strange thing that you would never see at any other motor race. They let all of the paying public go down pit lane, get up close to these cars.
Didn't we get to have a lot of fun with this one, mate? There were so many people out there, and as you say, a really unique opportunity to let the fans get up close and personal with the cars that they've been dreaming about. They've been looking at the internet, they've been watching videos and watching on track as well, and be able to come in, talk to the drivers. It's just a really unique experience. Welcome, mate. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, George. So I'm standing right here with Mr. Hoshino and his team, who miraculously brought the 767B back to life.
Now, unfortunately, this car suffered a bit of an accident. Can you tell us a bit about that?
2年半前にイギリスのグッドウッドで、事故っちゃいました。
So 2.5 years ago, he unfortunately had an accident at the Goodwill Festival of Speed and sort of destroyed the car.
実際はどうしてもそのブラインドコーナーになってるんですね。それが観客席が向こう側にこうに行ったらぐっと曲がってて皆さんが見てるんですけど、こうに行ったら丘なんですよ。でそこまでは前日に何回か走ってたんですけど、その当日になった途端にバーって行ってこっちに曲がるんだろうなと思ったら急にこっちに、右に曲がってった左にターン。だからみんなそこ突っ込んで、大体4台みんな同じに突っ込んでます。
So as you can see from that passionate explanation, so he was at the Festival of Speed, he was going up and the stands were on the right, and there's a blind corner that curves to the right, and so he ran it 4 times during practice and there was no problem, but the day of the race, he went and then he saw the blind spot, and he just went up the bank and he just crashed, and there were 4 other cars that took that same accident.
And it's been a huge road back to recovery for us. The rebuild has been a labour of love, obviously, a team effort. And can you tell us how about that went?
これは結構費用も相当かかりますしね、それ特殊なもんですからなかなか1回ではすぐに直せないと。で2年半かけて少しずつで全国の皆さん、ロータリーファンの皆さんも含めていろんな人から資金的にも協力してもらったり技術的にも協力していただいたりで、この部品はこちら、この部品はそっち、それでこのカウルはここでみんな手分けしてやっとのものになりました。
So right now, a car of this caliber, you can't just fix it right away. So he had to rely on all the rotary fans from all across the world. So some gave him money, some gave him parts, some told him where to go to fix the cowl and something like that. So it was all the specialists came together to fix the car.
Well, backed by popular demand, the 767B, one of the all-time favourites and an absolute icon of international motorsport. George, it's pulled the crowds for one reason only, that magic sound.
Yeah, well, I was going to have to get in and tell you to be quiet, mate, because I just really want to have a listen to this thing. And one of the coolest things about Hoshino-san, 9,000 RPM. He's got this motor turned up full noise.
Definitely one of the crowd pleasers, Turbo Smart, Flying 500, sort of like single car drag racing, I guess, but it's all about pulling top speed, big horsepower cars.
Exactly right. Isn't it awesome to see these things put down there 12 to 1500 horsepower over that Flying 500 area? And, you know, these things are making more power than some of our top-level time attack cars, which is just insane.
Crazy. Speeds over 260 kilometres per hour. The mixed motorsport Mitsubishi Evo has been up there for the last few years, breathing pretty heavily on its way to 265 kilometres per hour. This is the man they're all chasing, and of course, it's a Nissan GTR. This thing is just wild.
Exactly right. Look at the thing. It's even got a parachute hanging out the back of it. That's how much it's going to take to slow this thing down. But no, honestly, really fast and pretty cool to see the Godzilla laying down the times.
Aaron McGranahan, 269 kilometres per hour, but this guy decided he would hop in for a bit of fun as well. That's actually Shane Van Gisbergen behind the wheel of this wild HSV. It's actually owned by Jared Maggs and doing a great job here this weekend. And Shane just out there to have a little bit of fun, but still pulling nearly 200 k's an hour. That's impressive. Something else that's impressive this weekend, Volkswagen have something a little bit different planned. One very quick Volkswagen Amarok.
Volkswagen Australia called on its apprentices to get an Amarok V6 Ute race-ready tick, because here it is at the 2017 World Time Attack. Its second task was for it to beat its company record of the Golf GTI, which is 1 minute and 59 seconds. Kurt, can it be done?
Absolutely. We have absolute confidence in this.
Can you tell us how this all started and how you got it prepared?
So basically, we just wanted to give our apprentices, our top apprentices, the opportunity to do something that they wouldn't normally do in their day-to-day in our dealer networks. And we thought bringing out our Golf GTI as our most iconic sports car, setting a lap time around Eastern Creek, and then setting the challenge for our apprentices to beat that time with an Amarok V6. It's got 550 Newton meters of torque, so we think we can do it.
Well, what a wonderful initiative this is as the wraps come off the Modern Apprenticeships program. Very impressive Volkswagen Amarok. Now this is putting out 550 Newton meters of torque, and they have set a time for it this weekend to beat a 1 minute 59. Now the purpose of that, George, is because that's what you can get around here in a Volkswagen Golf.
Yeah, pretty impressive, isn't it? Golf GTI, one of Volkswagen's better known performance cars, obviously, and really well regarded. Can you beat that time in a Volkswagen Amarok? Well, Ben Porter set out to see if we could do that this weekend with some really impressive results.
It's definitely a different look, isn't it? Low profile tyres on this car. It really moves through the corners in particular. It's quite impressive for such a heavy car that it can pedal like this, and Benny knows his way around Sydney Motorsport Park. And the good news is, on multiple occasions this weekend, the Modern Apprenticeships program Amarok managed to go under that time of 1 minute 59. I think it even snuck into the 57s at one point, which is very impressive. How about the Prep Motorsport Legends show? There is some seriously cool cars from yesteryear. I know your dad raced back in this era, George. There's just some heart stoppers out there.
Yeah, exactly right. As you can see, obviously the little Bluebird, there's Sierras, there's all kinds of really, really cool cars, and obviously the Benson Hedges car, I really, really like that one. That's from my old days. And obviously too, the RX-7, I mean, brings a bit of Japanese flavour back to World Time Attack in the Legends area.
It's amazing seeing how far the RX-7s have come with some of the fire-breathing triple rotor cars here this weekend. Like you mentioned, we've got the Sierras here. You know, your dad obviously ran those Sierras back in the day, and they were a wild piece of kit.
Yeah, exactly right. We've actually got 2 of them in build at the moment, so really looking forward to getting them out in the next event, something like this, and putting them on show.
Definitely pulling the crowds here this weekend. The old Bose Seaton Capri on show as well here this weekend. Lots of Australian Touring Car Championship cars, but also this very wild Indy car from back in the 80s.
Everyone loves a Skull Bandit. You know, this car was famous in the old days, and such an iconic livery as well, and really, really cool to see that car sort of showing itself around for the fans here, and it sounded awesome screaming down the front straight.
I think that's what this is all about, is just seeing and hearing these cars in their natural environment once again. Although it is a time attack event, we don't run a clock on some of these show cars. It's more about just getting them out there and putting on a bit of a show for the fans here this weekend. And this is as much a show as what we get from the time attack cars as well.
Exactly right. And if there's anything, if you could describe time attack in one word, it's cool. And that's what this stuff is. This stuff is so cool, and that's what it's all about.
Very eclectic, whether it be rally cars, Indy cars, Le Mans sports cars, prototypes. There's all sorts of great stuff here. And there's also one very big name who we couldn't have time attack without inviting him back once again. We had him here in 2016, and the Drift King is back in 2017 as well.
Wanted to know where Keiichi Tsuchiya was this year. Follow the phones, follow the crowd. It was unbelievable. The guy is an absolute superstar in this world, and he was just absolutely being mobbed everywhere he went.
One for the Toyota fans. The 86 is absolutely famous, synonymous with the Drift King himself, and great to have him in the car here this weekend. I once saw an autograph session with him and Tim Slade. There was about 100 people queuing up to get this guy's autograph, and Tim wasn't saying hello to anyone. It was incredible. They've all come to see the Drift King here at Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge. And if you're into your Toyotas, this is a special bit of kit.
And with good reason. I mean, the Drift King is to Japan what Peter Brock is to Australia, what Dale Earnhardt Sr. is to America. You know, this guy's an absolute god back over there in Japan, and we're really, really proud and obviously honoured to have him here with us this year.
You mentioned the autograph sessions, and this is what I mean. The people who have showed up here this weekend upon their thousands to meet the Drift King, but also all of our international drift stars. We've got Mad Mike here, like we mentioned earlier, Shane Van Gisbergen, Daigo Saito. There's a lot of huge stars in world motorsport here this weekend. And with our GT Sport partnership here this weekend, they're launching the new Gran Turismo game, GT Sport, on PlayStation 4. This is a parade of all the famous Gran Turismo cars, and I've got to be honest, I was a massive Gran Turismo fanboy. I had the original GT1 back in the day on PlayStation 1. And this is something seriously cool. You and me both, mate. Obviously 2 cars from each version of Gran Turismo on parade here. As you can see, the yellow JGTC RX-7. What was your favourite track on the GT, mate? Probably Trial Mountain, because it was, you know, from the fantasy land of Gran Turismo, and I knew a little handy shortcut to get around, particularly coming onto the front straight. But that is very, very cool. And to have that RX-7 here alone this weekend is something pretty special. But you know, Lotus, Lamborghini, Skylines, the KTM Crossbow, which is definitely turning some heads here this weekend as well. McLaren's definitely putting on a show for the fans here this weekend. And what a great way to celebrate the new GT Sport game coming out, which has virtual reality in it as well. And I've got the PSVR head kit at home. It is a different way to play video games.
Yeah, exactly right. I managed to jump on the simulator for a couple of laps this weekend, and tell you what, it blew my mind. So I'm looking forward to the full release of the game and doing a few more laps.
Yeah, one of the cool things about this event here this weekend, all the fans have access to come and try GT Sport out for the first time. And as you'd expect, hundreds of cars, no shortage of tracks to choose from, including Mount Panorama as well. So go and check that out.
Celebrating 20 years of Gran Turismo, Tsuchiya Keiji just jumped out of a race car, and now he's going to have a bit of a different experience. He's going to have a virtual reality experience in the Gran Turismo and play the game. And Toshi's here to help me out to translate. Have you played this before?
I've played all the versions up till now, and I'm really jealous of what's just on right now. So I'm actually curious to think, he just got out of the race car. He's about to try the virtual game. So let's ask him. 今から車の方から降りて、レーシングカーから降りてきたんですけど、今バーチャルやったことありますか？
ない、聞いたことはある。
So he's heard about it, but he's never tried it before. なんかどういう期待がありますか、これ？
やっぱりバーチャルだからどういう風に見えるのかなっていうね、その見え方と動き方がどう違うのか体験してみたいですね。
So he's really excited about seeing how everything looks and moves and the car reacts compared to the real world. So he's very excited about that.
Is there any track in particular you think would be his favourite?
特別走ってみたいコースってありますか？
やっぱりこう F1 が終わったばっかりなので鈴鹿行ってみましょう。
So F1 just finished there, so he's going to try Suzuka circuit.
So Toshi, how good do you think he'll be at this?
I think he'll do pretty well, and out of my own personal experience, it's pretty accurate. So I'm
Breaking
really
lap records?
Yeah. So when you have a real legend like this jumping in, I'm really curious to see how he does.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, he's one of the most professional race car drivers in the world. Let's see how he goes when he hops behind the wheel for GT Sport in PSVR mode as well. So he's having the full virtual reality experience down there. He's got a huge smile on his face. And I tell you what, he's warming to that pretty quickly, actually. He's straight into it.
Well, exactly right. A man with the talent of Kiichi Tsuchiya. You're not going to hold him back for very long. Now, you said to me, mate, you've got this set up at home. So when you get a copy of GT Sport, you'll be able to do this too.
Tsuchiya, were you lying when you said you never played before?
これ初めて運転したっていうのが嘘ついてたんですか？
本当に初めて、本当にファーストタイム。
Really, it's his first time ever.
Are you addicted now?
ハマりましたか？
これのレベルが高い。
So high level, the whole game, everything. Not a game. It's not a game.
Well, two more drivers enjoying their time on The Sims this weekend is Tim Slade and Under Suzuki. They've challenged each other to a GT Sport race. Not sure exactly why Tim Slade's gone for the chase view. Definitely that's a bit more like it for Under Suzuki. He's sitting there on the bonnet. Great chance to see how cool these graphics are on GT Sport. Working their way around at the moment. Tim Slade probably warmed to this one a little bit quicker than Under Suzuki. Let's get down to George.
Yeah, exactly right. I think that the speed on the track is translating to the speed on the simulator. Timmy really consistent, a 16.623, 16.857, and then the last lap of 15.698. Won by, 10 seconds or something, mate. Well done. Very good job by Under as well. Congratulations. 1 minute 20.5, 1 minute 20.2, and then the 1 minute 19.1. There you have it. Tim Slade.
Big smiles all around. And how about this for a dogfight? If you're into your 90s Japanese cars, it doesn't get much better than this.
Well, it's awesome, to be honest. I was speaking to Aiden, who owns that yellow RX-7, and in Gran Turismo 2, he bought that car, 10 years ago, and the chance to own it and to drive it 10 years later in real life, he's just absolutely buzzing.
Incredible. And Dale, who's out there in the Nissan, he actually campaigned that car here last year in Yokohama World Time Attack 2016. That car was actually bought via Norway to arrive here in Australia. Very, very cool. Well, Under Suzuki's had his go on Gran Turismo. He's heading off back to his race car because he's up next in the Spares Box Super Lap Shootout. Hope you've enjoyed the midday mayhem. Don't go anywhere. Things are just getting started. Welcome back to Sydney, Australia. It's the Yokohama World Time Attack Challenge, where the numbers have been very impressive in 2017. Plenty of new lap records, and we're building to the excitement now. The best part of the weekend, it's the Spares Box Super Lap Shootout. George, we've seen some incredible numbers, and the conditions should be just about perfect for these shootout laps.
Well, exactly right. If you were going to pick one part of the day to do this, this is the absolute perfect time. So pressure's on for these guys. This is the absolute last chance you've got to lay down that perfect lap.
Highlights of the V-Sport Club Sprint class coming up first, and they're all chasing Jordan Cox. But unfortunately, I think because we had not the best forecast for the Saturday race day, a lot of people really used up their tyres on the Friday in particular. We only get 2 sets for Club Sprint, so for Benny Tran and the rest of the guys, catching that time was always going to be difficult.
Yeah, exactly right. You could see Jordan Cox's guys were really experienced there. They came out, did a time straight away, were very comfortable with it, and actually sort of paced their tyre use throughout the weekend. So really impressive to see there.
A couple of Honda S2000s, including this one of Andrew Wagner, making it inside the the top 5. That alone is, well, a huge task. We had 39 entries here this weekend, and they were pushing the limits out there with the big Nissan GTR Skylines as well.
Exactly right, and as you say, 39 entries, that makes this the most competitive class that we had here this weekend. So while the cars aren't as wild and while the drivers aren't as well known, it really, really is impressive to see these guys pushing on and getting lap times out of the cars that they do.
This car was on the podium last year. They've had a change of driver for season 2017, but good to see the Arnold family making 2 entrants into the top 5 for the Super Lap Shootout, but unfortunately no one could manage to get under the already very impressive time set by Jordan Cox. And when he came out of the pits, we had a feeling it'd be pretty special. This guy has been on top of his game so far in 2017.
You can see those guys looking for every single bit of aerodynamic advantage. You can see the tape around the headlights, up the sides of the bonnet. That's to try and stop air getting in and actually cut that. Whoa, that's a huge moment, and obviously this guy's really comfortable in that car.
He's quite comfortable going sideways as well, so congratulations to Jordan Cox. We've seen some heroics from him in improved production. Well, he's taken that over now to Yokohama World Time Attack, and he breaks Dan Meredith's 3-way streak at the moment. We have a new champion in the V Sport Club Sprint class. Congratulations, only a young driver as well, and hopefully we can have him back here for 2018. Moving on now, Spares Box Super Lap Shootout action in our Link ECU class. And just qualifying in the top 5 for this was very, very difficult. They're all chasing Adam Kazmiri, and it was in the Super Lap Shootout last year where Nathan Morecambe managed to leap into the number 1 spot. Great to see Garth Walden in a new car here this weekend.
Exactly right. He was creeping up on this car all weekend, and as we know him as a previous champion, we always knew that the potential for that performance was there, and Garth's really starting to get there. He actually nicked a few parts off his old Tilton Evo this weekend, trying to get that thing on song.
Not a bad bloodline, I suppose you could say. 3-time World Time Attack champion. And this team based out of Wellington in New Zealand have done a really good job to improve in the Super Lap Shootout to a 129.7. But unfortunately not quite getting up to the time set earlier that we saw from our number 1 man, Adam Kazmiri. Nick Ashwin was one of the late guys getting into the top 5. Was looking like at one point he'd be missing out. Check out some of the aero work on the front fenders of this car.
And full credit to him for finishing this lap off. What we didn't see is he actually looped it at the start of that lap, so he put on a show for the fans and really wound that thing up as fast as it go.
Yeah, it was coming onto the front straight out of Honeywell Garrett turn. It unfortunately went around on him, and that car was working to the absolute limits here this weekend. It really ruined his run on the front straight, so 1 minute 30, not too bad. How about this guy, 36-year-old commercial aircon business owner? Here he is in his spare time racing this thing. It's got Super Shock influence the whole way through it. Oscar Fiorinato, an absolute genius engineer out of South Australia, has taken this car a long way, and man, this thing is fast.
And look how beautiful it is. What an awesomely prepared car, and obviously he's having fun driving it. You can see in the attitude, the thing's sliding all over the place, so good on you, Matt Longhurst, well done.
And they've actually had to rebuild the front end of that car after a nasty fire. Nathan Morecambe with a big lock-up, last year's defending champ, going to have his crown taken off him in 2017, pushing the limits. He knew he'd have to produce something pretty special if he was going to go back-to-back.
Well, if anyone was going to produce something special, obviously last year's champion, so it was really good to see Nathan throw everything he had at it, and we've actually been teammates in the past, and I tell you what, this guy can steer a car.
He's very committed and becoming a father soon as well, so best of luck to he and his partner Jemmy. And the man from Sydney put down another impressive lap time, and again, you know, that was 4/10 quicker, that lap alone, than what he went here last year to win the class. So it shows you just how far it's come.
Well, exactly. Speed of development in this class is unreal. But here we have the man of the hour, Adam Kazmiri. What an awesome job. If you'd have told me that a Honda Civic would be faster than an Evo, an R34, I mean, these guys are doing an awesome job with that car.
Again, to just clarify this, 2 seconds a lap quicker than a supercar around here. Just wild speeds. And that's how he's doing it through that incredibly fast first turn. So much commitment.
Exactly right. And Adam really feels at home in this car. I was speaking to him a little bit over the weekend, and he just, knows how to push it, knows how to drive it, and you're seeing the answer in the speed this car's carrying through all these corners.
So 2015 champion, trying to back it up again this year, and the best part was this is kind of a victory lap at this point. He knew that no one could get under his time, so it was just a chance for him to go out there and see if he could better his own best so far, but the first sectors wasn't quite there.
Yeah, exactly right. He had saved some tyres for this car. One of the advantages of being a front-wheel drive car, it means you can save your front tyres and only go through 2 at a time, and that really, really helps, and you could see that he's still able to carry that speed even into the shootout.
through this fast turn 7. 3 sets of tyres all up for the weekend is the availability in our Link ECU Open class. And again, 28 entries for this season, so it was always going to be very competitive, and that was his quickest middle sector of the week and actually managed to reel back some time, and the boys in the pits had high hopes for what this last sector might produce.
Didn't he keep us on the edge of our seats? I mean, we're all watching the timing screens there, and Adam just really pushing that thing, trying to get that ultimate lap speed out, and like you say, all of his team were sitting there watching. It was good to see.
So Adam Kuzmiri to the stripe, trying to go under that 1 minute 26. Didn't quite get there, 1:27. I don't think the team care. They have absolutely smashed it out of the ballpark this weekend. And this top stage crew should be celebrating that one long into the night. So final results, and congratulations to Adam Kuzmiri. That was an absolutely huge lap. Nathan Morecambe up on the podium once again, pushing it a long way, and great to have Garth Walden running back at World Time Attack, even if it is in the open class, not quite what we're used to seeing him in the pro class. But congratulations to Adam Kuzmiri. Let's hear from him now.
Adam, congratulations. Some tight competition, but you did it. You're the winner for 2017.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a great event. The team worked hard all year. There's a few guys that I just want to thank quickly. Z, Jonas, Kit, my brother, Dave, Roger from Hard Race, Phil Armour, so I'm stoked.
Turning our attention now to Motul Pro-Am class, and well, it was all about, again, front-wheel drive cars. What is it? This is the rise of the front-wheel drive this year.
Yeah, well set up car, obviously. You'll always do a good lap time, and those guys are doing an awesome job.
Started off with a four-wheel drive car, though, and unfortunately, this lap never really happened for Jared Scott. He's managed to improve on his best lap time from last year by a massive 12 seconds, but unfortunately, out of fuel going into the Super Lap shootout. Not the way you want to start your lap.
Yeah, no, exactly. And here's on to one of your favourite cars, obviously, mate, the ex-Pro Drive WRC Green Hulk. What an awesome thing, but not the right line onto the front straight.
But it just looked so at home being off the racetrack and being out there in the dirt, didn't it? It was just flying out there. Unfortunately, it wasn't the lap there for Jason Wright, not improving earlier. He did lay down a 1:31, but was a few tenths off the time there. This thing has turned some heads this weekend. It was purchased back in 2015 as an unregistered track day car in Germany, and the Finns have turned it into something completely different.
What a wild machine. I mean, they call it the 1-to-1, 1 horsepower per kilo, but this thing is well in excess of that, and really impressive to see. As we said before, the fastest car here in a straight line, over 305 kilometres an hour down the front straight of Sydney Motorsport Park.
It drinks 11 litres of E85 per minute. It's got an incredible fuel burn rate, and this is why. Listen to this thing sing. Big flames out the back as well. What an absolute weapon. And Sami Siivinen's had a great time this week, and also Mika Toivonen unfortunately brought the Lotus over from Finland but had some issues. Will Jung, and look at that, personal best sectors in the Super Lap shootout. That's filling people with hope for the pro class as well.
Yeah, exactly. Will Jung doing an awesome job, and yeah, actually improving on his lap time in the Super Lap shootout, which is really cool to see, having come all the way from Canada. I mean, this guy, just a good bloke, so very happy to see him do well.
And a 1:28.4 for a first attempt for any driver who's arrived here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the first time. Very impressive. A very professional looking squad, and we hope to see them back. But it's all about this guy, isn't it? The 101 Motorsport team. They have been exceptional this year, lowering the mark to a 1:26.2. Check out the smoke coming off these front tyres.
Yeah, unbelievable. What a swan song for this car. They're going to be retiring it after this event, and really cool to see Rob Newen really push the limits of this thing. As you said, smoke coming off the front. Now, we don't know what that is. That might be just a bit more downforce or anything, but really didn't slow him down in this Super Lap shootout lap.
So back down to second gear for the GT Sport. Long turn 2. Absolutely rapid.
Yeah, isn't he looking comfortable in there? You can see Rob Newen really doing those little tweaks to the wheel, but it's carrying a lot of speed, and that's what's important here at Sydney Motorsport Park. These corners, when they flow together, quite high speed, and if you can carry that speed, that's the secret to a good lap time.
27-year-old from Brisbane, right on the limit, out at turn 5.
These things are serious, aren't they? There's one thing we can't forget is, as much as they might look settled, this is a serious race car, and doing the kinds of lap times they're doing, so much faster than the V8 Supercar, so much faster than GT, and getting close to open wheelers, it's really impressive.
Made even more so by the fact that it's a short wheelbase CRX.
CRX.
Lifting the right rear. They've somehow managed to scrape 15 kilos out of this car for this year. The titanium exhaust helping, but that is just a huge effort. And look at that, actually finding some time in the middle sector.
Yeah, unbelievable that you can get a Honda CRX to go this fast, but it just shows what good quality engineering, hard work, and a lot of experience, obviously, in setting this thing up can do.
So looking for the 1:26s, Rob Newen has been probably the best on ground here this weekend. And look at that, 1:26.2 goes a tenth under his best time. And that is a huge effort from the 101 Mighty Mouse team. That is just a monstrous lap.
Yeah, unbelievable. You've got to put your hands together for those guys. It's a really, really huge effort and great to see.
What a way for that car to, I guess, call time on its World Time Attack career. Congratulations to the Queenslanders. Rob Newen goes P1 in the Pro-Am class and the first driver other than Mick Sigsworth to ever win in Pro-Am, and that is definitely something worth celebrating. Congratulations to the whole 101 Motorsport team.
To pull it out and make that kind of performance in a shootout, that takes some real strong will. Obviously had some new tyres there, but very, very well done.
Yeah, it wasn't easy today. It was quite a messy lap. I think session 2 this morning was where the money is at. But we did our best, and I think our target was 26.7, so we're half a second quicker than our goal, so I cannot be happier.
Time now to go even faster. Yes, we're moving right along to our pro class, thanks to Royal Purple. And Tim Slade is gearing up. He'll be the last car on track. Shane Van Gisbergen watching on. He actually used to drive this car, drove it to a podium a few years ago. Fire Rando, it's been great to have him here on debut in World Time Attack, former drag racer. Funny story, I guess, if you could call it that. An earthquake ruined the drag strip in Japan, so he decided he needed a new sport. He found one.
Yeah, and isn't he doing an awesome job? I mean, to come out here, obviously, for the first time, running nitrous in that Evo and doing a really, really good job with an aero package modelled on the Tilton Evo of a few years ago. So really, really good effort for those guys.
Yeah, Voltec's aero package, which looks very familiar, doesn't it? And they've done a great job here this week. And speaking of aero, unfortunately, Brad Shields with damage to the wing, missing an end plate, and that was always going to hamper their efforts. But this car has also found some time, and they've been playing with a NOS as well. So good to see this local Sydney team, Insight Motorsport crew, finding their personal best times here this weekend as well.
Yeah, Brad Shields, a very experienced GT campaigner, running both a Porsche GT3R and a Lamborghini Huracan as well, and good to see him out here getting a few laps and obviously able to tame the massive amount of horsepower through those front wheels.
He did a 128.4 earlier in the weekend, which has locked him nicely inside the top 5. Well, one to watch out for this weekend. This thing is an absolute beast as well. Andy Forrest, how much does this car move around in a straight line?
Unbelievable, and so many creative solutions on this car. Chain-driven front wheels, a GTR transaxle, all kinds of stuff. Really, really cool to see, and someone who thinks outside the box. And as you said, he did get up to his lap time expectations and doing a 1:26 by the end. Really impressive.
Andrew, brilliant aero package on this car, including this massive rear tunnel, which you're getting a bit of a look at right now. It's a funky package out of Port Seton in Scotland, so he's travelled a mile to be here, he and his wife Lisa, and they've had an absolute cracking time. He wanted to run 1:29s, well, they've exceeded that this weekend.
Yeah, exactly right, and this Australian track's a lot different to the tracks he's testing on back in his native Scotland, so obviously a bit faster, a bit more open, a bit smoother, and this has been a real sort of fact-finding mission for him. And Andy, said he'd be happy with 1:29, as you say, and to creep up on it like they have, he's done a really, really good job.
He travelled all the way here in 2015, but broke the transmission during practice and didn't even get to compete in the event. He went home heartbroken, but put all of his thoughts and ideas together and has been slaving away for 2 years. He built this car himself. It is an absolute piece of work up close. Congratulations to Andy and his wife Lisa and all they've achieved. Incredible engineering feat. And the best part is, looks like they're about to lower their best lap number here in their final lap of the weekend.
Yeah, what an awesome job for Andy. Obviously, personal best first 2 sectors. And to finish it off with a 1:26.9. Awesome job, mate. You've beat your target by 3 seconds. Well done.
Sliding it into the 26s. That is a huge lap. And it's not all that long ago that would have been good enough to get him up on the podium here at World Time Attack. But as it is, he'll be leaving comfortably inside the top 5. Now, one of the all-time favourites, Under Suzuki, setting off, hopefully, in search of his first ever 1:21 lap time. He's been comfortably into the 22s. Let's see how he goes.
Exactly right. It's hard to make one of these cars with such extreme aero look beautiful, but if any of the cars are here you would consider a good looking thing, this is it. Doesn't it look great with that black and red Advan livery?
He's now been guaranteed a 4th straight World Time Attack podium, and he could technically qualify for the Pro-Am class. He's not a pro racer. He actually works at his family's chemist by day and then goes and builds this race car himself by night. It's an incredible story, but he wants to test himself against the best, and a 4th straight podium is just a huge effort.
Yeah, exactly right. Having a look on the in-car now, you can see using a fair bit of steering lock there, but the car's nice and stable, so the rear's not jumping out all over the place, and that's going to give him a lot of confidence to be able to push coming around here win the first time with this nitrous oxide assisted turbo S15.
Now, under Suzuki fans will notice something different from this car this year. Paddle shifters. So he's done away with the old school stick and now flipping it on the paddles, and it's found him a little bit more time all the way to the exit at the hairpin, and he's actually up 59.0 to the second sector, and this is where this car has been the quickest out of any vehicle here this weekend, 3rd sector.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? He's really hugging the inside of that turn there, getting a great exit out onto the straight. Let's see what he can do.
He was runner-up in 2014 by 38 thousandths of a second, and in 2017, can he get into the 121s? Yes, he can. 121.7. Great lap under Suzuki, and that is a huge effort, an improvement of 1.5 seconds on his time last year.
Yeah, what an awesome job from the fan favourite. But here we have Tim Slade, the man everyone's been waiting to see. Going to throw it down one last time, see if he can't improve on that 1 minute 20.9.
You put his sector times together this weekend, and it's a very encouraging 1 minute 20.6 that is potentially on the table. Just feathers the throttle.
This thing is so fast, it blows my mind. He's doing such a good job driving it, but clearly Murray Coote and the whole team have done a great job of putting together a very stable, very drivable car that has just a ton of horsepower.
A reminder, this is an S13 Nissan Silvia. Runs a billet SR20 motor, and it spits flames and does ridiculous lap times. He's a 10th down to his own best first sector, but it's still a good lap.
Yeah, it's really impressive to be that close, especially given the run he had earlier on in the day, which is when he set his fast time. But you can see Timmy's pushing to the absolute limit, using all the curbs and running the car right out. You can see the amount of experience he has around this place. This guy probably has the most experience of the top 3 runners around Eastern Creek and Sydney Motorsport Park, and it's really showing. Just listen to that thing. How good is that?
Headed to a record 6th consecutive podium is the MCA Hammerhead. That's where he lost the end plate earlier. Earl Bamber, a Le Mans 24-hour winner, has driven this car. Shane Van Gisbergen drove it to the podium on a couple of occasions. And in 2017, Tim Slade will take Murray Coote's Hammerhead to back-to-back victories. The sector time's not improving at the moment. We'll see just what the number is. 121.1, it's a huge lap all the same. That lap alone was a full second quicker than last year, but that is a good way to go out, improving all the time and wowing the crowd, and the fans just love the Hammerhead. Congratulations to Murray Coote, back-to-back World Time Attack victories. Tim Slade, what a weapon behind the wheel of that amazing car. Under Suzuki, huge improvements there, and same goes for Barton Moore, and hopefully we get to see that Porsche back in 2018. But congratulations, Tim Slade, another World Time Attack Challenge win.
Tim Slade, congratulations, the 2nd year running. You are the champion of 2017. Well done.
Thank you. A little bit disappointed with the last run, to be honest.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt there was more in it earlier today, and it didn't feel too bad. So I'm not sure. I have to have a look at the data and see where it was slower. But yeah, no, I mean, congratulations to Murray and everyone at MCA.
Up on the podium, congratulations to the youthful 3 that made it up there for our club sprint class, and thankfully Jordan Cox is quicker at driving cars than he is at opening champagne bottles. A chance to celebrate, but also Benny Tran and Ben Arnold. Well done to those 3. Up on the podium, Matt Longhurst spraying some champagne there with Nathan Morecambe and Adam Kazmiri. And they have just obliterated those lap times this weekend in our Link ECU Open class. You get the feeling that particularly for Matt Longhurst, there's more to find in that Nissan. The international boys spraying some champagne as well. We've got Rob Newen, who is an Aussie, but pouring the champagne on him. Finland's Sami Siivonen, and the Canadians in there as well with Will Young. But congratulations to Tim Slade. He is your winner once again in 2017. And getting up on the podium, Barton Moore and Under Suzuki. hopefully for Under Suzuki, we'll see him back in 2018. We hope you've enjoyed the action here. Thanks to George Miedeke for his help here in the commentary box. But don't go anywhere, because the Honeywell Garrett International Drift Challenge is about to smoke it up here at Sydney Motorsport Park.